Welcome to the quarterfinals of the first gold medal event of the 2015 Nordic Ski World Championships. It's the women's 1400 meters classic sprint with bib number 1 worn by Justyna Kowalczyk of Poland, the fastest qualifier from earlier on in the day. 3:24.89 she's seeded up against Celine Brunli of Norway, Magdalena Pajala of Sweden, Aino-Kaisa Saarinen, a 5-time Olympic champion for Finland, Sophie Caldwell for the United States, and Evelina Marcic, the last to qualify, in 30th place. Mike Dixon alongside myself, David Goldstrom. Sit back, relax and enjoy. First two by right, then it's down to lucky losers.
Well, they're off, David, and this first section, flat for 200 meters, and then it's a massive climb to the high point. My estimation, it'll take about 1:15 to 1:17 to get to the high point, and then from there on in, there's a lot of strategy coming into play.
This is a warm afternoon. The temperature has gone to +7, so the conditions have changed from the time trial. As you can see, they're already on the uphill. The characteristic of this race is that it's a very long climb before a very tricky descent as they go out and away, and you can see all the way around here the spectators lining the course, up 20,000 in and around the Lunette Stadium. The conditions, Mike, you can see already quite sugary.
Very wet, actually, as well as sugary, and must say that's a good move from Kowalczyk. She was struggling to get ahead of Brunli, who set the early pace.
Justyna Kowalczyk, twice an Olympic, twice a world champion, and nothing in terms of performance this season, but since the 16th of January, she has been training privately for this moment. 11 there, that's Pajala for Sweden in the white race suit. 10 on the far side, Celine Brunli for Norway. 21 on the far side, Sophie Caldwell. That's the first four, and already 1 or 2 getting tangled up.
I have to say, David, that was like an attack up that climb from Kowalczyk. It was mostly running, but she's got the engine to back that up.
This is where she's been working on her downhill technique. As they swing down here, she's still not that comfortable, and you can see Celine Brunli chasing there to try and close the gap, and 4 away. And the 2 at the back, Aino-Kaisa Saarinen, I'm afraid, too far detached. And Sophie Caldwell there going into 3rd place for the United States. 30, that's at the back there, Evelina Marcic for Poland.
Look at
and now you can see the power of Kowalczyk.
The grimace on her face, David. She knows that she has to lead this by 10 meters over this rise, and that's a wonderful advantage. She wants to be ahead of the rest into the home straight against the wind.
Yes, she needs that advantage because she is heading into the wind, which is coming straight into her face. Normally, you would say here it's not a good idea to lead, but she's in a different situation as she glides down to this very compact stadium, which is similar in design to the Holmenkollen in Oslo.
But look how Brunli and Pajala are catching her. We know that Kowalczyk loves to have more grip than glide to run up these hills, but it's a negative on the descents.
Yeah, that's actually Sophie Caldwell for the United States in 3rd place there. And Justyna Kowalczyk comes to the bridge, the right-hander, across this little flat section, and then crucial, as you will see as the afternoon progresses, to have the right line or the right track craft round here. The right-hander that brings you into the last 100 meters. First 2 go through by right, and then it's down to lucky losers time. And there, full and packed the grandstands. They've sold 200,000 tickets, and now Justyna coming into her own with the double polling. She wants to win. She wants to win in a good time, but she's coming through comfortably to put herself into the semi-finals. Poland's Justyna Kowalczyk, Celine Brunli holds off Sophie Caldwell. Sophie Caldwell 3:31.7. That is a contender for a lucky loser time.
I must say that was so impressive from Sophie Caldwell. It destroyed Saarinen. Pajala was there and then faded massively. And I think that was a wonderful performance. Maybe not the tidiest, but enough to get through to the semi-final from Kowalczyk.
And Kowalczyk, who, as I said, took off from the World Cup, in which she's not really made any impression. She didn't get involved in the Tour de Ski. She's had some personal problems over the last year or so, which have been difficult for her to manage. But time is if not a total healer, it's a great help. And now she's back in that sort of mental shape that we relate to back into Vancouver when she was the Olympic silver medalist in classic style.
And David, although that time was 3:29 earlier, her qualifying time 3:24, I do think it's a conditions aspect which has slowed this down. Look how wet the snow is now. It was much more compact earlier.
So the servicemen will have had to have adapted to this in terms of structure and waxing, Mike.
Very much, and you can see the contrast there. We know that Kowalczyk just wants to use her supreme strength to attack up these hills, so you need good grip, but she has sacrificed some of the glide. Brunel's skis were maybe slightly less effective on the uphill, but faster on the downhill, so we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds later.
Yeah, over the years, since the sprints were introduced in the World Championships of 2001 for the first time, there have been just 4 classic championship sprints. In 2005, Sweden's Emily Erstig won the day, and more of that later as we turn our concentration to quarterfinal number 2. The rules are the same, and the fastest qualifier is Ingvild Flugstad Ørsberg, the silver medalist from Sochi 2014, but of course that was in freestyle skating. This is in classic, and so far Ørsberg would be the favorite. Armonier for France there. 7, Sandra Ringwald from Germany. Terrific performance by her. 3:27.69. She should be well pleased, but now it gets tougher. Wearing bib number 4, there is Ørsberg. There you can see Olympic team champion in the sprint, but a silver medalist individually. 14, Prochaskova, who's got a consistent record of making the top 16 in world and Olympic competitions. 17, Shapovalova, who's got work to do for Russia. Russians haven't got a very strong entry in the quarterfinals. And 27, Anne Kolonen, one of the slower qualifiers for Finland. But it's all about managing your energy. If you give everything in the time trial and you use too much in the quarterfinals, you will not last out to the final.
Such a tough course, and from the gun here, it's well, 1:20 to the top of this continual climb. It's expensive energy.
Full start there, and that gives us a little time here. Marit Bjørgen, by the way, not one of the faster qualifiers. She goes in quarterfinal number 3. She is the leader in the season-long sprint rankings, in the Wiesmann rankings. Second in the rankings is Ørsberg, who takes part in this competition. And third is the Olympic champion, Micah Kaspersen-Faller. Well, they could have called 1 or 2 there for a full start.
I thought it was further down the line, but I think in the end it was Kilonen who was taken by the movement further down to her right. The jury will certainly have an opinion on that, and you cannot afford to do it a second time.
What's also interesting, it may not look like it on television, but actually the final 100 meters actually rises up, and there's the yellow card.
It was Kilonen.
So that yellow card means if she does it again,
she's not starting. Now the pressure's on, so that's going to hold back without a doubt. You need to play safe the second time of asking.
And Kolonen, who's not finished in the top 20 in any of the 3 World Cup season sprints. That was much better. But you could see there Ørsberg, who likes to lead. And interesting to see what her tactics are going to be, because I think she's pretty nailed on to qualify here. Ørsberg is rated by the bookmakers as the 7-1 favourite before the day began. Marit Bjørgen, the clear favourite, at 6-4. And Stina Nielsen, who goes in the next quarterfinal with Marit, 7-1 as well. And the Olympic champion Faller, 8-1.
I think the Norwegians were lucky, David, by chance, purely by chance of where they finished. We've only got 1 Norwegian in each of the heats. 5 Norwegians in there who have made the top 30 as expected, and all in the top 10 fastest time. Look at this, 47 seconds. It'll be about 1:20 to the top, and this is a severe climb coming up now. Look at it, huge climb, almost like going up an escalator on the underground. Really, really steep. It's almost running, David. There isn't time to be smooth and efficient. You've just got to attack and keep on attacking up this climb.
But it's very interesting. You see the stride length that she's using here. That short, sharp strides is much more effective. Little herringbone there just to get round the corner.
And important, so important to keep the hips way forward so that you're getting your compression down through the waxing pocket, as it's called, to press the grip wax onto the snow.
Prochaskova of Slovakia there in second place. I did mention that she's a big occasion racer, and Kolonen of Finland in the blue in third, and they're really strung out here. 44 kilometers as they come to the Wiesmann Bridge, and it's Norway leading, Slovakia in second place.
Fastest skis, David, on that descent was by a long margin. It was Ringvald at 48.29 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, and Ringvald just tacking on there. Remember, 2 by right. And see, even the leader, Ersberg, there, slight herringbone to get up here, being pursued by Prochaskova, who actually is running a really good race.
And did you notice how of course, Ersberg was slipping a little at the top. They've gone very light on the grip wax to enhance the glide on the descent.
So Prochaskova in the hunt there, and the front two, surprisingly, have broken away. And Ringvald, you can see the glide of her just coming into third place. So the skis are working, but the gap is too big. And now this will become a very tactical point at the base of this hill here. You may not be that wise to lead at the base there. Some may come on the outside and cut you up off the corner when you go over the bridge. Ringvald in third place, Kolonen in fourth.
I'm a little surprised, David, the lead two haven't backed off the pace now a little. They've got a clear advantage, and of course the top two go through by right.
And that's actually Shapovalova, who's in third place now. Ringvald in fourth place. Kolonen has actually dropped back, but it's all about these two. And remember, the time for the first heat from Kowalczyk, 3:29.55, and Ersberg powering away.
Well, she doesn't need to sprint to the line because she's clearly out front, but she's pushing this pace quite, I think, equal to the previous heat. In fact, 2 seconds slower.
Yeah, 3:31 and 3:29.55, the first of the quarterfinals. So just having a look at that photograph for Sandra Ringvald. But I have a feeling, Mike, that, you know, Ringvald and Kolonen, who actually in a photo for third and fourth, Shapovalova just dropped back at the crucial stage. I don't think either of those two are going to make a lucky loser place.
I don't think so. It's looking good for Sophie Caldwell. She was only 2.2 behind Kowalczyk on that first heat. Well, attacking continually all the way to the line, Ersberg, not backing off, even a hint of backing off.
Yeah, Prochaskova of Slovakia, 30 years of age, coming in second place there, and she was just 29th in Östersund over the weekend, but maybe she's timed her preparation really well. And you can see Ringvald there 7 seconds back. That really is going to be out of contention for a semi-final place. Well, Ersberg likes racing from the front. We've seen that a lot in World Cup, Mike, but it may not be when it comes down to the business end of the semi-finals and the finals. It may not be the place to be.
I don't think so, especially coming into the stadium where it is into the headwind, being at the front when there's athletes behind you, not the best advantage.
And quite a difference in the first two quarterfinals. We've seen, you know, the front two getting away. That's unusual for a sprint.
I think it's the unique design of this course with those two huge and brutal climbs. They really are separating the best from the rest.
And so to the quarterfinal of the women's classic sprints with Stina Nielsen, 3:26.08, faster than Marit Bjørgen. But Sadie Bjørnsen for the United States of America. Sadie from Anchorage in Alaska. Marit Bjørgen, well, there you have it. 6-time Olympic champion, but she could be on her way, Marit Bjørgen, to a 20th World Championship medal. Stina Nielsen will be looking to stop her. She's the brightest sprinter Sweden have produced in the last couple of years. Hanna Falk, her teammate. And then Francesca Bodin, and you can see she's just come from Almaty, where she won the World Under-23 Championship. Romanova of Russia.
21-year-old, an exciting prospect, and a good find again from Russia.
And Sadie Björnsson was the slowest of this group of 6, but now under starters' orders. Oh, another false start there.
Hey, at World Championships, we haven't seen this often at World Cup this season, David, where they're breaking the line on the gun hold and the starter isn't holding them too long.
Hannah Falk, I think it's Hannah Falk there, who has broken by a long way, so she's going to get a yellow card.
Well, she has to back off totally now and not break that wand again.
Great expression. Yes, I know.
Oh, I wonder how that's going to affect her psychologically. Kilonen earlier, it really seemed to affect her. She never got into the race.
So Marit Björgen, 2 from the left of your picture, but it's Stina Nilsson getting a real roar from the crowd. The last time a Swede won the World Championship sprint title in Classic was Emily Erstig in 2005 in Oberstdorf from her teammate Lena Andersson, and now Marit Björgen. Marit Björgen on this sort of course, actually, she's taken the lead here, but I think her real power is going to come in the second and third parts of the course.
I think she will be aware, David, of course she's clear favourite in this heat. She'll be aware that she doesn't need to expend all of her energy or too much if she can hold back just a little.
She is the World Cup leader, and out of the sprints, she leads the sprint table. Out of the 6 sprints she's taken part in, she's won 5 of them. And so Marit Björgen being pursued by the 2 Swedes. You can see Stina Nilsson there, a little bit taller. She's ranked, Stina Nilsson, in 4th in the World Cup rankings from Torsby, and finished 2nd and 3rd in the last 2 World Cup sprints in Classic style. Hannah Falk, and then at the back there on the right, Sophie Caldwell really struggling to keep pace.
This is a test and a half, David, and interesting, Marit Björgen, her skis were slipping just as she approached the crest of this rise, but I'd expect very fast glide factor on her skis. Destroyed the field, totally separated all of the athletes.
Well, it'd be interesting to measure her time against Kowalczyk of 3:29.55 in the first quarter-final.
Well, I make it in terms of glide. Nielsen's got the fastest skis that, in fact, Bodan has at 50 kilometers an hour down that descent.
But look at Stina Nilsson taking on Marit Björgen, where we usually expect Marit Björgen to be the toughest, the strongest. The reason why this course is so hard is because of the terrain that's been put into it. And look at the front of Stina Nilsson just making an error there.
Well, and then she started to slip. She looked over her left shoulder, then she started to slip, but she's comfortable. And this will be interesting, how she copes with the descent and then the drive into the stadium.
You can see the left-hander and then the right-hander here. So easy to become unbalanced. And now Marit Björgen, these front 2 are well away. And for the 3rd quarter-final in a row, and look at the glide on Stina Nilsson. So Marit Björgen's got the optimum line for the climb up the hill, but Stina Nilsson has got the right position to come round her and cut her off.
David, I think this is great news for the Swedes. They've got a much better glide factor than at the moment the Norwegians. Certainly Nilsson's skis are flying, and she took it quite easy along that home straight, giving Falk a chance to come back into it, maybe. Well done, Nilsson.
Well, it's exactly what I suggested she was going to do, and she's now got the optimum line into the right-hander. Now the wind becomes behind her and pushes her home. And one characteristic of this finish, you don't see it on television, but actually it's an uphill finish. Not a very big uphill, but it is uphill. You get a little sense of it there. And Hannah Falk trying to close as well, being cheered on, but it's going to be Stina Nilsson who's given a classic skiing lesson to Marit Björgen. And 3:29.55 was Kowalczyk, and this is 3:29.30.
Hey, that is great news for the Swedes and Nilsson. And just comparing the glide factor down the big descent, Marit Björgen's skis were 46 k's an hour, and Nilsson up at 50.
So Hannah Falk at 3:31.3. So interesting there to compare that. I think that's going to put her in 3:31.3. Yeah, I think that's going to put her in with Sophie Caldwell at the moment in the lucky loser spots.
Just didn't see that disqualified. There must have been some pushing, David. That's her second yellow. The jury must have seen some interference on the track. I missed that.
Or could it have been a skating step?
Could have been. Maybe she skated too far around one of the corners. We would have picked up on that. I didn't see what happened there. DQ, that's a real pity.
Yeah, so that really changes that race, doesn't it? Because it means that Stina Nilsson and Marit Bjørgen, but Francesca Bordin, the under-23 world champion of the season, actually into third place, but 6.5 seconds off. It really doesn't help her, and so Bjørnsen finishes fourth, Romanova fifth, and Hannah Falk put down to sixth place.
And I think, David, Hannah Falk, there she is. I think she would have qualified. Whatever, was it a skating action? Was it interference? But with that good time she set, surely should have been one of the lucky losers.
Well, unfortunately, those pictures really haven't told us too much.
They haven't told us the story at all. No. Clearly, she jumped the gun earlier. That was her first yellow card. Nilsson didn't even look back, pulls off. She'll get the lactic acid out of her legs and just focus on the next one.
So the Olympic champion heads the list of starters for quarterfinal number 4, and at least on paper for Maika Kaspersen-Faller, this should be a fairly straightforward qualification. Kerttu Niskanen always to be respected. You can see two-time Olympic medalist from Sochi last year, and the Finns to be respected when it comes to these sprint races. Here is the Olympic champion, and the most important thing for me is third, fourth and second, her places in the classic sprints. Second just last weekend in Östersund. And Dotsenko for Russia could be there or thereabouts, but I don't actually see her ultimately as a medalist today. She's an outsider for me. Denise Herrmann, I think she's slightly better at freestyle than she is at sprint, and hasn't had the impact in the sprint rankings that she had last season. And then 22 here, Malvaleto. Malvaleto is a classic winner. There are not too many classic winners in this field here, apart from the likes of Bjørgen and Kowalczyk. And Ida Sargent for the United States, who was first away in the prologue time trial earlier in the day. So 3:29.33 is the fastest time so far.
Oh, again for the third time. The nerves are absolutely on the edge, and I think it was the Russian athlete there that set it off, Dotsenko, I think.
Oof. Well, I wouldn't like to call that. Now, who's she?
Whoa, so
yeah, spot on, Mike. Oh, they've...
no, sorry, it's Malvaleto.
Malvaleto.
Well, she was... He caught her periphery there, Dotsenko making the move, and then she had the momentum to break it.
Now, the advantage is, as a result of your times, to be on the far side there for the climb up, which is an initial right-hand climb. And here you can see real pace being put in to this race. And Faller on the far side there, the Olympic champion, just now beginning to get the better of the argument over Malvaleto of Finland.
Well, it's up to about 24, 25 seconds, mostly arm power, even as they climb the first part of this rise, and then it's into the diagonal.
Now, these two Finnish athletes, Kerttu Niskanen, who's following Maika Kaspersen-Faller, and then on the outside there, that's Malvaleto in the black and orange race suit. That's Germany's Denise Herrmann. And Kaspersen-Faller.
The notable aspect of the three Norwegians we've seen previously, it's about the tempo, David. It's not pretty, it's not traditional classical skiing, it's just attack with as much tempo as you can up this climb.
but there's a fluency and connectivity about Falun. She's really getting the power down, but forced the herringbone. That just gives you an inclination, or an indication, I should say, of just how demanding the climb is.
And if you're forced into a herringbone, we saw her lose the pace in comparison to Niskanen, who managed to stay in the tracks all the way up that climb.
You also use that little bit extra energy to do a herringbone.
It's horrible. You do, it's tense, it's not comfortable. The speed so far, Falun 48.19, that's the fastest. In fact, Herman 49.55 k's an hour.
Technically, Falun was excellent through that section there and cornered really well.
And you're only getting an 8 to 11 second recovery, but it's not a recovery because you're trying to get your best line and then another attack.
9 on the left of your picture there, that's Anastasia Dotsenko, just about moving into third place, trying to vie for second.
This is hard work for Falun. David again having to put the edges in early for the herringbone run. But she's fast, she's strong, so she can still get away from the field.
So the Norwegians getting their qualifiers through to the semi-finals and into the stadium with a big advantage. I suppose if you lead like Kowalczyk and here with Falun, it's okay, providing you've got a substantial cushion.
And that is a comfortable cushion there from Falun. And now she could afford to slow it down, but she'll keep on attacking up this climb.
So Falun, 24 years of age, based out of Lillehammer, comes to the bridge and has got a useful couple of lengths there over Kerttu Niskanen of Finland, who's looking for second place but being chased there by Dotsenko, and those three are away.
I must say Dotsenko's skis have looked very good. She seems to pull back a few meters on each descent, as she has done there.
And just for me, made the wrong mistake. I think she should have gone this side rather than the far side. She's given Niskanen the chance to actually go through by right. I think if she kept on the inside Dotsenko, she would have had a better chance. But Falun, powerful, outside 330, so not the fastest. But Niskanen, I think Dotsenko could have given her a harder race.
That's a pity for Dotsenko, yes, taking that left lane as we look down, or second left. But you are carrying quite a momentum around that final right-hander. Falun, Olympic champion, but wasn't as convincing this time as Kowalczyk was, as Østberg was.
Bronze medalist 2 years ago in Val di Fiemme in the World Championships then. The World Championships of 2013, when Marit Bjørgen beat Ida Ingsmar-Dotter into second place. Falun was third, Wisnar was fourth, and Stina Nielsen was only fifth. But Stina Nielsen is a stronger athlete, and you can see there Dotsenko, well, unfortunately, it's not the fastest heat. In fact, just looking at that, it's actually the slowest of all the heats or quarterfinals. Well, Falun's really made it gun to tape, almost. I mean, Malvaleto in the beginning, but I think once Falun got to the front, she wasn't in the mood to relinquish the lead.
Not at all, and we haven't seen any side-by-side action down and round this bend. It's a tight bend, and of course you want the inside line, and likewise here you want the inside line, but as we progress we're going to see much tighter racing, maybe 2 or 3 abreast.
I still think that Sophie Caldwell's got a chance of getting into the lucky loser spots. I've got her and, well, Dotsenko as the two at the moment. And just the last of the quarterfinals to come. And this is the lineup for quarterfinal number 5. Now, Wisnar in this is certainly a person we should keep on the right side. She was 4th in the World Championships 2 years ago in Val di Fiemme. Bjørgen, of course, won in 13. She won the Olympic title in the sprint in Whistler. And here's Natalia Matveeva. Done well, I think, to get into this quarterfinal, because I think she's slightly better at freestyle. That was what we always thought, looking at her results. Wisnar in that distinctive lemon race suit of Slovenia. Geithnes, I know that you've been quietly thinking that good things can come from her. Her power to weight ratio for this type of course is very good. Ida Ingmar Dotter is going to get the whole of the 20,000 on her side. The silver medalist from Val di Fiemme 2013. And again, slighter build here for the Swiss representative, Lauriane van der Graaf. Lauriane ranks 16th in the World Cup rankings from Davos, and Penny-Ann Jones for Canada completes the lineup.
David, that's the lineup. I'm just seeing a jury decision on bib 7. That was Ringvald from earlier. I did see her taking the corner and going through the cones, so she's been given a yellow card for that. Didn't follow the course. So you pick up the first 10 meters in diagonal, that gives you momentum up. Then it's arm power along the only flat part, the 100 meters here, and then into the hill.
So up front there, early doors, it's Katja Visnar, but now being taken on by Keitnes, and it's the red suit of Norway. The ski tips are just in front. On the right of your picture, wearing 13 there, that's Ida Ingmar Dotter, and I think she seems conscious of the fact that you need to keep in touch here. And 23, that's Lauriane van der Graaf, extreme right there in the all-black race suit for Switzerland.
I often like, we've seen it so many times at World Cup, the Van der Graaf is very good. She reads the situation. It's always unfolding around you, but she reads sprint racing very well. But, well, 5th position at the moment. She needs to be up with the action more.
She has had a podium this season, but it was in Rybinsk in a freestyle race, and not every one of the top racers were there, so you have to take that with a pinch of salt. But I really like Visnar, slightly more upright position, but she's really getting the power down, those short steps there, really working on the incline.
And yet Keitnes beside her, like Visnar, the head is so stable in the middle, the hips are well forward. I feel that Keitnes is holding back a little here, and I think that is great sense, expecting to get through to the semi-final, save a little bit of energy.
Yeah, Visnar for me though is so far producing the best skiing of this quarter-final. She's really dominating, and she's clearing her head what she wants to do. That's nice cornering, the weight nicely balanced. Ingmar Dotter there in the white race suit for Sweden in 3rd place. And 4th, wearing 18, that's Matjeva in the red headband. 23 towards the back, that's Lauriane van der Graaf. And the only one who's really struggling at the back there is Penny-Ann Jones for Canada.
Keitnes is having to go the long way around, David. That's wasting energy. The inside line is by far the best. She needs to be careful.
Yeah, it's pretty about Penny-Ann, actually. She was 21st in Östersund. That's her best classic race of the season. Hails from Canmore, but she's now out of it, and we're down to 5.
Well, this is definitely the tightest, the closest pack. 4 athletes around this left-hander into the stadium.
Now, see if my theory works here, because Keitnes has got the lead. I don't think that's necessarily the right thing. Is Visnar going to close and cut? And look at Ingmar Dotter's glide.
Like Nielsen, the Swedes have got wonderful skis.
Look at this. So Katja Visnar attacks up the incline there, and she's got first run, first call, really clearing her head what she wanted to do, skips over, takes the track, takes command.
And it's allowed Matjeva, bib 18, back into the action. Ingmar's daughter needs to pull some 10 meters back at this moment.
Keitnes now 2nd place, and they are stretched out here, but that is the best skiing from Visnar. She has dominated this race. She's been clear in her mind. Her track craft has been good. Her cornering's been good. And you can see here, 3:29.55. That was the time of Kowalczyk. 3:29.33 for Stina Nielsen. And quarterfinal number 5 turns out to be the fastest of the lot. Well done, Katja Visnar. I think that was a quality piece of work.
That was very clever racing. Visnar, she didn't look overstressed either. And great strategy in behind Keitnes in that home straight. And I wonder if Keitnes will rethink where she takes the lead. It was on the top of the 2nd climb. She had a good line into the right-hander.
Visnar, who hails from a rather beautiful part of Slovenia, the Lake Bled region, And what I was really impressed about was how she took command and knew exactly what she wanted to do. She was fourth 2 years ago in the Worlds, and I suspect that what's in her mind is, I do not want to finish fourth again.
Well, and you know, she made that look easy, one of the fastest times.
The two lucky losers, Sophie Caldwell from the United States gets through from quarterfinal number 1, and Ida Ingsmar Dotter, the silver medalist from 2 years ago,